What's going on, my friends? I hope you guys are doing well. I really do. It's been a minute since I've been on here. It really has been. I want to jump on and kind of talk about something real quick. It's kind of like what's been going on with my month here in March. And sometimes you're going to have things you've got to do that are outside of composing music, and sometimes I call them roadblocks, but they're for the good, and it happens. Sometimes you're going to have it's a good setback, not a bad setback. Sometimes you're going to have a lot of tracks with a publisher, and the publisher's going to come along sometimes and go, we're going to kick these tracks out because we don't feel they're lately a fit for the library, or, we want to concentrate on this particular publisher I'm with said that you got a lot of great tracks and we want to concentrate on those. There's just a few here. We want to let you're free to take them to another publisher if you want to do it. And it's a part of this good and maybe bad rejection that's always going to happen. I don't care who you are in this industry. And even Marlon Gibbons said this the other day. He was in an interview with Dave Croft on his channel. And if you're subscribed to Marlon or Dave, you've seen it already. It was a really good interview. Marlon's just a great guy. He really is. Marlon is a great talent, and it inspires me to watch him and Dave and these guys because they're so talented. They really are, and I'm impressed with a lot of the good information they pass on and just how generous they are with sharing their knowledge. I think that is so cool, and I love that. I embrace that, and I'm always watching that stuff now. As I told you guys, some of the videos and the channels that I watch, always continue to do that because one, it's going to keep you on top of what's going on in this business. That's one avenue, but it's going to help you understand some things. And going to my point, Marlon said that rejection is always going to be there, no matter who you are. I still get it. All of us, the best composers in the world, and I've said this before, you're always going to have rejection. So and sometimes it's good. And sometimes it stings a little, but it's not really that big a deal because in my case, those tracks always have a home. And these handful of tracks I had to take, I had to recatalog and composer catalog, and I had to redo alt mixes and send them to a couple of new publishers, and that's okay because there's publishers I'm sending to that will get me placements. And it's just shifting. It takes some time. It's taking some time out of my months from composing. I will tell you that, I never go into another year without tracks committed. That's just me. I don't know what it is. I don't like tracks to sit around. It bugs me. And I talked about earlier this year, I had 30 tracks to a big publisher, a really big publisher that, and it's going to happen. The guy hadn't emailed me back. And it's like 3 months. Excuse me, my computer. 3 months and 3 emails, and he didn't even respond. And I'm like, I'm moving on. So I pulled them and I sent them to one of my publishers that gets me a bunch of placements, and I'm gonna let him run with them. And it's just one of those things that I told him at the conference. If he doesn't take them, I'll send them to you. I mean, it's just he asked me for them and I let him hear them, But I hadn't really brought that up since, and I just sent them to him 3 or 4 months later, and he took them. Well, I ain't gonna say he took them. He still has to. He just took 10 others from me the other day. These he still has to listen to, but I'm pretty sure I think he'll take them. So if he doesn't, hey, that's a part of this business. These are these good and bad setbacks, these roadblocks that are going to happen. But it creates a lot of work that isn't composing music. And if I can tell you anything that I've learned, don't fight that. Don't go, the upload process on this publisher takes way too long. I don't want to do that. You really want to do that because if you know they're going to get them licensed for you or placed on film and TV, you'll do it. And it really is. You just don't know. And it really is. Where I started, and I feel you because I thought that when I first started this, but when I started seeing these placements come in, it was worth it. That time putting in to do that stuff is so worth it. It really is. And it's really helped me a lot to understand that, it's a give and take. You got to give the time and put the time into it to reap anything out of it. But again, it's putting them in with the right mailboxes, the publishers that are going to place that kind of music too. And I think that's the hardest thing about this business is finding the right publishers. I mean, there are a lot of them out there. I've got that directory I told you about a long time ago that, in fact, they just sent me the updated one, but I have, since I started buying that thing years ago annually, I've yet to scratch the surface on that thing. I mean, but it's always there. Now, will I renew it this year? I don't know. I've got a lot of work, which leads to my next point is you're going to have publishers are going to start really getting you a lot of placements, and that's a lot of work with those guys that you got to concentrate on. You're going to have to put most of your work without spreading yourself too thin. That you're going to have to maybe a publisher sending some music to a couple of publishers a year and seeing where that goes, but not. Because you just don't know. You're putting 15, 20 tracks in this corner over here and this each year, and they say try to get your music to as many places as you can, but you have to worry about, don't spread yourself too thin. You don't want to run away from the publishers that are getting you the most work. Unless they limit you on the amount of tracks you can do a year, load these guys up. Do what you can to get them music. Do what you can a year. I mean, a lot of people that do this have other lives. They have families, they have other jobs, they have a certain amount of time each week that you can do music. And hey, I understand it. It's all good. You do what you can do and what music you can do. I think, even part-time with that, you can do 50, 75 to 100 tracks a year, minimum, easy. You're talking about 52 a year, as they say, is one track a week. You can do a couple tracks a week. That's 100 tracks a year. For libraries, that's still a good amount of tracks. It takes a while to get there, but it's still, if they're getting them placed, I've got a publisher right now I've got a little over 110 tracks with it. I'm getting a lot of placements with these guys. So you can imagine if I could get them volume. I'm trying to, this year my goal is to get them to 250, this year, get up to that. And then each year try to get volume in their library where it'll stay. And these tracks are constantly getting placed. It's exponentially growing. So you can imagine compared to where I'm at now, stack 400, 500, 600 tracks on it, and it's really going strong. And, it's a particular publisher that works hard, has good clients. They really do, and they get the music placed. It's pretty cool. But just try to focus on that and just understand that sometimes you're going to have setbacks, and that you're going to have to stop and reappropriate tracks to a different publisher. Like those 30 tracks, I had to rename and recatalog and had to do some different alt mixes for them. Took me some time to get that done. And then these other few from this other publisher that they kicked back to me, I still have to, a few of them, figure out what my alts are. Like I sent one to this particular publisher, and now I know what alts I have to do for them. In fact, I'll pass this library on, and I want to start doing that if I can. There's a couple of them I can't talk about, but one of them I know. But I sent a track to TuneEdge. I don't know much about them. They've gotten apparently a lot of work over the years, but I can't seem to find anybody who's had placements with them. If you have, it's TuneEdge, TuneEdge, yeah. TuneEdge, one word. Let me know. I sent a rock track to them and they took it, and it's all processed, raring to go. But I'm sending them a few more tracks from this pile, and we'll see where it goes, But it's spreading that out there and seeing where it goes. Set it, forget it, and don't fret it. Just let them go, catalog them so you know where they're at, and go off to the next. So I think that that's just the nature of this business, and some of you that have been in this know this. It's just a part of it. It's finding your home, man. Finding your publishers are going to get you the most work, and you work hard for. But each year, I try to appropriate 15 to 30 tracks to send to new libraries, minimum. There's going to come to a point where I probably need to just focus on who's getting me all the work in those libraries. But again, it's one of those things, you don't know if that particular library, the work is going to slow, or if they're going to sell to somebody else, or they're going to tighten the reins and close the gates and only have certain composers they won't bring in music in, and it happens. Listen, I've never been to a situation where libraries I was with sold to another company and have no idea whether they would just hand all my music back to me or take it in. Don't know. I kind of suspect that I will find that out down the road here. There's one particular library I've been with for years. It's not Jingle Punks. That I wonder what's going on over there. I got a lot of music with those guys, and kind of wonder down the road what they're up to, because they have a lot of music in their library. They may be running strong. They've just been real quiet lately, and I don't know really what's going on with those guys. But these are the things about this business. You start wondering. You're trying to connect with them and keep a relationship with them. And I send them still 30, 40 tracks a year, but they don't get me the most placements. But I said it again then, and I'll say it again. You have no idea whether those 800 and something pieces of music that I have in that library, which equates to there's about 350 actual tracks, but pieces of music, all mixes and all, is about 800 to 900 pieces of music. You don't know when it's going to start being cool again. Because I get a few placements, and there's a genre that I don't do a lot of. It's some hip-hop stuff that's actually getting all the placements. There was... No, that was another library. I was thinking of the Marvel Comics one. But, it's really hip-hop, and there was a couple that for Catfish and stuff like that. But, it's not a library right now that I can put all my work into, because I work on their briefs and send them 30, 40 tracks a year, and that's about all I can do until that starts picking up and I start seeing some improvement. That's the nature of this business. That's how you have to kind of divide and conquer with things with this, and you have to kind of sit down and be strategic. Don't turn your back on these guys if you can. If you know they're just absolutely doing nothing and it's like nothing's there, just move on. It's okay. But always check in on them, keep your eye on the ball, and find out if people start talking about them, something's going on. It's buzzing. That's one of those things I say. Going to this production music conference is very important. I've learned from other composers. I've gotten several deals out of that conference and met some really good people. And I've learned so much out of that. And that's just one thing. That's besides YouTube, and that is the YouTube resources. When you find the right resources and the right channels, like good old Dave Croft and Marlon Gibbons and some of these other guys, like Jesse. Some of you might have an opinion about Jesse from Sync My Music, but I can tell you right now, because it's the only one I know of, but that's the only course I can recommend that really works. If you're going to take a course on learning this business, he has a section in there that these guys will teach you how to do genres of music. And I'm going to tell you, that's how I got good at tension music. They did a fantastic job. It was amazing. And they just laid it out in such a way that I think it worked. And there were other things, I knew I'd already been in the business a while, so I knew quite a bit was going on. But there were some things that connected the dots in that he told me about that really helped me and put it together to move forward and hone in on learning how to write production music. And it comes harder for some than others. It's always come harder for me, but some people just nail it and just do it. I don't have such an amazing talent to be able to do these things. I don't know how some of these guys do it. But anyway, wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. Just don't fight that. You're going to have roadblocks and things you got to do. There's things in this business you're going to have to do that don't have anything to do with music. It's all admin stuff like meta tagging and uploading stuff and doing keywords and filling out spreadsheets. Just do this stuff. Do it. Don't fight it. I can tell you. And get on it. And the last piece of advice I can give you in this video is so important, which is a part of this that I just thought about, is whatever you do, if a publisher emails you back for an edit, in other words, it's been a while and track's been like, hey, we discovered in this track there's a pop at the beginning, or something's out of key or out of pulsing, or can you do another alt mix for this, or send this because we have a client that needs this. If as quick as you can, get that back to them. Don't waste any time. I know some of you might be at work and you can't do it. But as soon as you get off work, get it to them. Say, listen, I'm tied up until this time. Tell them. But as soon as I get in a few hours, I'll have it to you as quickly as possible. Most of them are understandable. They know you have other things going on or whatnot. But get to them as quickly as possible. Don't let that stuff go. Because a lot of what I've seen, and I had one publisher, and I've had some placements with that distributes to BMG. Some months ago, it was back in the fall, said, hey, there's a audio missing in one of your alt mixes we have. I don't think it was from you. It was from the transfer, and we don't know how, but can you send me that alt mix again so I get it re-uploaded? And what it was is there was a client listening to that stuff and needed that track and had missed it. And track ended up getting placed, and the alt mix they wanted was that one I re-uploaded. So I'm telling you, don't sit on that and go, yeah, I'll get to it when I can. That's a sign that if that popped up like that, it's all the tracks these libraries have. They don't sit there and remember or just go listening through for your track. Somebody caught that, that's listening to it and is interested in using it, and it pays off. So whatever you do, no matter whether they've gotten you a lot of placements or not, act on it, because you just don't know. But anyway, I'm getting off here because I'm running long. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll try my best this year to get on more. I've had a lot going on lately, and talk about things when they come to mind. And, you know, and I keep saying it, I want to get on and maybe walk through how I package my tracks for publishers. And, you know, when I do a track, I do everything. I don't sit there and wait on it and do my mastering, do 15 in my mastering later. I mix, master it, produce it, and package it and get it all completed right then and there before I go to my next track. So if that's one thing I can tell you, make sure that you consolidate your workflow to make it efficient. Work smarter, not harder. Don't stack a big pile up where you got to go back and put several hours into more of that when you can do all this in 3 hours in a day, or however long it takes you to do whatever genre you're doing. So anyway, I'm off. I appreciate you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Be cool. Bye.